Hello, welcome to Cinema Savvy and welcome to the second installment in the Cinema Savvy Awards. This is a fun new little show we're doing, new series on the channel where we're covering 14 Oscar categories over the next 10 weeks. Actually, it's probably the next 9 weeks now at this point, isn't it? In the lead up to the main Oscar night. It's just something fun we're doing on the channel, and today's category is going to be Best Cinematography. This was a real fun one to throw together, actually. We have videos again. They still don't have sound. We don't know what's going on with the sound in these things, but the point is we have videos. That's the main thing. And yeah, this is like a shorter little series that we've been doing on the channel. It's really good fun. We'll probably go into the rules in a second anyway, but essentially we've got 3 picks each and we pick our winner and we discuss it. So it's basically like completely like the Oscar night, but without all the pomp of the circumstance. So it's going to be good tonight. And of course, we want you guys to comment along with some of your favorite shots in cinema, favorite cinematography, whether it's the whole film or a single shot. Do get joined in because we love your guys' involvement as well. But before we go into this thing, whoever's doing the socials, I don't know if who's doing the socials.
I believe I am. So, just like Chris just said, please comment below with your choice for best cinematography. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe as well. And I think Chris mentioned like about the Oscars and stuff like that. I'm sure if you watch all of these videos put together, it would probably be shorter than the Oscars ceremony anyway, which is always quite fun when it gets around to it. Please, for any information on our upcoming videos, follow us on Facebook. You just type in Cinema Savvy. Go onto Twitter, that is cinema_savvy. We are back on Letterboxd, that is letterboxd.com/Cinema Savvy. And if you go down into the description, you can find our TeePublic link, which Chris is advertising
like the
here
Star
today.
Wars opening credits. Look, here we go.
But yeah, go into the description and pick up a t-shirt from there. So, George, the rules.
Yes, so as Chris kind of explained, we each pick 3 films. We're picking the best cinematography, not of the year, not of the decade, not of the century, of all time. So there's an open book. It doesn't have to be films that won an Oscar. It doesn't have to be films that were nominated for an Oscar. It could even be films that won a Razzie we put forward for these. So we just picked 3 between us. We've got the video. We have the nominations. Inside of those 3, we've already picked our own winner. And then after the video, we'll pick the film, explain why we picked that film, maybe what makes that one stand out compared to the others and why you're trying to justify that pick. So it's quite a simple premise, but as we've said, comment below. Last week we had Carla commenting. If you guys at home are watching it, or if you're watching it later on, then comment after we've replied to all comments on the channel. And if you are on the live stream, then be sure to put the 3 nominations in and then drop your winner a couple of minutes after you've put your nomination, so at least we can then think between us which one we think it could be. And it's going to be very interesting tonight because cinematography, it's not something we've got to speak about on the channel. One of the most important things about cinema, quite literally, and it's not necessarily a tricky conversation, but not many people talk about it outside of the Oscar season. And here we are in Oscar season talking about cinematography. So I'm excited to get into it. Granted, it's for 1 film, but who knows down the line what else we could talk about.
It was so difficult narrowing these down to 3 picks as well. Also, the little video window that we have, I've had to shave off like half of the video. Like, you can't get the full scope of the actual shot, so it's actually kind of broke my heart editing this thing and choosing what to cover. But yeah, I think that's all the intros done. We'll jump right into it right now. So without further ado, we're going to go in clockwise order. So me, George, Tate. So kicking off with me, these are my nominations for Best Cinematography. So first up, we have Blade Runner, a film that's absolutely outstandingly beautiful, from the low-level decay of the city to the wide scope of the city itself, transports you to that sci-fi world. We hadn't seen that in cinema at that point. Then we have the wuxia film Hero. This film is unfathomably beautiful. It was really difficult to narrow it down to 1 shot. The use of color and slow-mo, the coverage of the action scenes, everything is outstanding in this film. And finally, we have Mad Max Fury Road, a film that put action films back on the map in terms of practical effects, the coverage of the chase scenes, the action, and just showcasing the beauty of the landscape and the colors in there as well was incredible. And the winner is Hero. So I don't know if you guys have seen the film Hero. It's a martial art film. Zhang Yimou, I think, is how you pronounce the name of the director. And oh god, where do I even start talking about this film? I have never seen a film that has come close to the beauty of this film. It's quite a simple premise in terms of the film, but the main draw for me is not just the fantastic martial arts that are in the film. It is just how gorgeous the film is. It almost like brings a tear to your eye just watching any single frame from this film. And what, in terms of the cinematography, how it's brilliant is it kind of almost has a sense of nature. There's the use of color in there, and there's like a winter setting with snow or sort of like a blue filter, and you really get the sense of that. And then you get the warmth of the desert and the red clothing and the leaves, and just the coverage of everything is absolutely outstanding. And I know it's when it comes to cinematography, you've also got the director themselves that wants it to be that way, but you do also have the director of photography that's making it look as good as it is. I think the only other film that I can think of that's ever come this close maybe would be like Life of Pi in terms of its use of color, and just outstanding to look at. So it really covers a different range of environments, weather, scenery, and it's just outstanding how they manage to utilize that and capture all of those moods. You almost feel like, say, if they're in the desert, you almost feel the heat of that desert. If they're in the rain, you almost feel like you're part of it. It really does. It is a film that plays on the senses. There's the use of sound as well in there, but it's just in that image. I think there's actually a like a tribute video that you can find on YouTube if you just type in like hero cinematography. I think it's like a 4-minute video, and it's almost like a short film. You don't even need dialogue. That's the thing. This is a subtitled film. It is in a foreign language, but you could just watch this film on mute, and it's incredible, and you'd get something out of it. So it's a weird one to talk about. It doesn't feel like I can talk about this one as much as we did visual effects last week, but it's just outstanding. Just go onto like Google Images, look at anything. Every frame looks like a painting. It's just it's brilliant. Fantastic film.
Yeah, I know next to nothing about it, so I can't really add much to that conversation. But from the shots that you said, and when you sent me the list over as well, it was that, I've not heard of this, so I'm kind of intrigued to see. Not knowing anything about a film kind of makes it fascinating within its own right, I think, especially for these kind of shows.
I have heard of the film, but it's on the never-ending list of films that I should probably watch, or at least get around to watching. The thing that I've kind of seen from various different videos that I've seen people talking about this film is the distinctiveness of each color and the distinctiveness of each part of the film, because each part of the film is assigned a color, if that's correct.
Yeah.
As you go through the story, it changes color and everything like that, and the environments are always set to that one tone, which is absolutely kind of, just from seeing a couple of kind of things of the different colors used, it looks fantastic. It looks brilliant. Everything looks so vibrant. Everything looks like it's so full of life. And it looks so distinguishable, very unique as far as cinematography is concerned. You can't really see that in other films where they've separated the colors out that much in that sort of way. So, yeah, looks good.
Yeah, I mean, all of these films, like the last thing I'll say, like these wuxia films that come out, you've got Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Curse of the Golden Flower, House of Flying Daggers. There's loads to mention, and they all look outstanding, like the colors and the costumes and the environments and the coverage of the action. But this one does stand above all those, in my opinion. I don't know what it is about it, because they're all fantastic in their own way, but this one it dazzled me more than any film that I've ever seen before. So that's my winner, Hero from 2002. People should check it out if they haven't seen it. It's a really, really good film.
Definitely. We'll add that to the letterbox. People, we'll have a letterbox list eventually with all the films we've won, and we'll put why. I'm just saying that aloud so I can remember to do it. Anyway, so moving on to my pick. So I've got 3 options for best cinematography. And the first one is the legendary Apocalypse. Now, Coppola may be the brains behind it, but Storaro is the eyes. The film doesn't work without the combination of that director, that cinematographer. Just take that in, seeing that in the flesh reel, shot perfectly. Then we've got Interstellar. How do you replace Wally Pfister? Nolan brings in Hoyt van Hoytema, a remarkable, not debut, but debuts to Nolan films, and one of the most incredible cinematic experiences, even with the IMAX shots as well. Every shot is perfect. And then we have The Last Jedi, the one I could talk about for many hours, which you guys won't let me do. We've got a couple more seconds, and I'm just going to let you take this in. Steve Yedlin's cinematography is beautiful. There's a reason why that film ended up getting a soundtrack-only shot. And with that being said, my winner isn't The Last Jedi, even though I really want to talk about it a little bit more. My winner is Interstellar, Hoyt van Hoytema. Now, this was a fascinating one, because when I just sat there thinking of not even, aside from no films, I sat there going through all the films that I can remember, not just iconic shots, but you need the consistency throughout the films to bring you to that point. And I remember taking myself back to that IMAX screening for that very first time, and even the trailers had beautiful shots. And it was when you get that opening scene, when you've got the cornfield chase and everything happening, and there's something different about this film that when Nolan brought in Hoyt van Hoytma, it felt different to what we'd had before. And Wally Pfister was great. He obviously didn't get that directing career without talking about Transcendence too much. And there's a reason why he's never gone back to him, because he replaced someone great with someone even better. And I think the thing that's always got me with Interstellar, them deep space exploration films, there's so much for you to do with it being in space. You've almost got unlimited potential. And what always fascinated me was that so much of the cinematography is the sort of shallow foreground, especially when they're on the IMAX, the square cameras, Tate and Zack Snyder. You can still fit in the characters properly, but he's framed every shot to perfection, so it works both on the bigger screen and on the smaller screens. And I think with this one, for the space stuff, there's so many shots of the astronauts. And when I was trying to think of shots to use today, and I was there like, every great edited scene, especially obviously the docking sequence, when you've got stunning shots of the little tiny, you've got the giant black hole, you've got the small ship spinning, all that kind of stuff, and every frame was nice. There wasn't a bad one, and even if they get a bit repetitive, the framing of the astronauts, choosing the higher angles, the lower angles, combined with the designs of the ship, and it feels quite claustrophobic. And I remember reading into it as well that, you know, at this point in time, the development of IMAX technology, it had never been handheld, and then Hoyt van Hoytma just took one of Nolan's cameras, did a bit of wiring, and then suddenly we've got a handheld IMAX camera, which has now become something that very few people can use because of how heavy they are. And you see clips of him sort of low down on the floor carrying this thing on the shoulder. I don't know how anyone can do it, but I had to pick this film based off what I've seen with it and just taking back to that memory, that cinematic experience, and just sitting there being taken back. Combining, obviously, you can't get a great film with just cinematography. Everything else comes into play: the production design, the actors, the appearances, the direction. So much of it comes together. But when you have a film that needs substance to also go with the style, getting the mixture of these was nailed to perfection. And it's something that, I mean, if you haven't seen Stellar, there's a long video from it last year. And one of the true crimes that this was never even nominated for cinematography. And this is easily one of the best. That's why I'm picking it. It's my winner. It's one of the best of all time. And I think this is honestly something. And it's really annoying because, on a side tangent, they do the IMAX 70mm prints online. They did a Blu-ray collection where you'd get one frame per Blu-ray. And people have had these for years, and they're still going for 50, 60 quid online. All the great shots have been taken, but go on eBay, search Interstellar 70mm frame, and every shot is a bloody painting. It's beautiful cinematography. The way he's able to take in the landscapes, the locations, as well as the stuff in the studio, nailed to perfection, and it had to be my winner.
Yeah, I think next to Dark Knight, it's probably Nolan's best looking film throughout. Like you mentioned, like consistently good looking throughout the film, and I agree with that. And in terms of the cinematography, he knows when to be more restrained and just sort of like cover someone's face, you know, their emotions, basically the McConaughey scene, and also pull back and take in those, you know, amazing location shoots, because, you know, he filmed so much of it on location as well. I believe it was Iceland, wasn't it, for the shot that was in the video. He had gone there for Batman Begins, but Iceland's never looked better than it did in Interstellar. And yeah, it really gives you that sense of vastness, that sense of scale, and also that sense of isolation, and just how much of a void space is from the, you know, the water planet with the giant tidal wave, and getting that sense of being completely dwarfed by the elements, to the stuff in space where it's both beautiful and terrifying at the same time, and you can all capture that from a single image. Yeah, no, Interstellar looks absolutely amazing. Definitely one of his best looking films.
So on my computer at home, I have a constant kind of reel of screensavers that come up and everything like that, usually based off of films and everything. And I have a lot from Interstellar. I have an awful lot from Interstellar. And it's not just the shots of it in space and on the planet, stuff like that. I've got a shot of just the dust settled on his truck back at home. A very simple shot that's at the very start of the movie, which isn't even meant to be like a massive kind of scene or a massive shot or anything like that. It's so stunningly simple and so stunningly beautiful. It is like every single frame of that film is a painting, and that is down to the cinematography in a lot of respects.
Yeah, and I think what I want to add to that as well, Roger Deakins came out last year in an interview. I think him and Hoyt van Hoytman did a podcast together or something like that, and not because he was there with him, but Roger Deakins said the Interstellar opening sequence from Tayte, where you see those shots when you've got the dust on the ship when the title comes up, or the whole cornfield chase. I think Deakins says that's one of the either the best opening scenes he's ever seen shot, or one of the best of like the last 10, 20 years or whatnot. So I think when Roger Deakins is telling someone that's when you know that is some good shit.
Well, speaking of Roger Deakins, one of my picks may include him, but we're about to go into my picks of best cinematography.
Yeah.
And we're straight in with the Deakins. Just look at how stunning that is. Blade Runner 2049. It is an upgrade on the original Blade Runner in my respect, and just the amazing city shots, the amazing shots of Vegas. It is just one of the most stunning films I've ever seen. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Well, what can we say about the spaghetti westerns other than they are shot absolutely beautifully, and this film and this shot in particular is one of the best I've seen put to film with its amazing scope in the West. And Lord of the Rings Two Towers. Sadly, we couldn't get the clip that I wanted, which was the battle scene of Helm's Deep, because that is probably one of my favorite shot scenes of all time as far as cinematography is concerned. It is fantastic. And I've been debating throughout the entire week which winner I would go with here. I've been flicking between two of my top three picks, and it has come down to the day, and I am picking Blade Runner 2049. And I want to kind of explain the reason why I have been flicking between the two picks. It is very hard to pick an overall winner when you're picking the greatest of all time. And when you're comparing the two different types of film that you have available from what you've picked, I've chosen to go with the stunningness of a shot instead of kind of the majesty of the battlefield. And as much as I love Helm's Deep and as much as I love all of the shots that are included in all of the Lord of the Rings films, and I do think Two Towers is the nicest looking film as far as the shots are concerned, I have to give respect here to Sir Roger Deakins as probably the greatest cinematographer of all time. Very under-recognized by the Academy with, is it one win or two wins now? I can't remember if he won last year.
He's got two now.
Yeah, he won last year for 1917, which I had the honor of actually being in the presence of him working on and getting the lighting right and getting the shot right for the going over the top scene, which could have easily been a number 4 pick here. But when we get to Blade Runner 2049, I was just blown away on my first viewing of how vast and how phenomenally bright and vibrant, and at the same time so cold and dead in some shots that the film was. It had such a range of emotion that you could just take from just a shot. And that's very rare that you can get that with a film where you can almost feel the room going colder as you see kind of the vastness of Sapper's tree, for example, at the start, or the orange taking over the entire screen when we get to Vegas, the beautiful cityscapes. I absolutely adore the original Blade Runner, but I do think this film took it to a whole new level.
Yeah, and so I've only seen Blade Runner 2049 the once when it came out. I think you guys like it a little bit more than I did. I do think I would benefit from giving it a second watch. But in terms of cinematography, yeah, it looks absolutely outstanding. I think maybe why it didn't stick out to me, and there are certain shots that do, that the Vegas stuff look great. The stuff with the neon, the holograms, all of that, the coverage of the city still looked great. I don't know what it was though, that it didn't, sort of like the film as a whole, that you mentioned, like the kind of like cold, dead city. And I just remember a lot of that. I remember like a lot of dark city shots and not much beyond that, apart from like the main scenes that you see. But that one in the video there, like, my God, just like that single image, just you mentioned like the orange, the colors. I think I'm a sucker for colors. I think that's what it comes down to with cinematography for me. I like my colors. I like my vibrancy. But yeah, no, it looks great. It is a film that I do want to go back to, though. I remember the, oh God, to bring up this guy again, Jared Leto. We're probably going to be talking about him way more in the next couple of months. But the room with like the shimmering kind of water reflection lights around the room, I remember that too. So yeah, that might be lighting, but it's still being covered by the cinematography and camera. So yeah, I mean, it still looks fantastic. It's the world of Blade Runner. It's a great world. It's fantastic.
Yeah, that's the thing. Blade Runner is beautiful. Both of them, to be fair, as a duo, different conversation. Great back to back, but also cinematography. You bring in Roger Deakins, who is amazing, and I think combined with Denis Villeneuve, what Villeneuve wanted to take on a property that iconic, that sort of specific, and the fact he could bring in someone that, even if the film was different, it still felt like you're in that world. It didn't feel like there was this massive culture clash. Granted, there's similar characters, but it feels as if the cinematography is perfectly blended from film to film, and you wouldn't think that is another DP. And it's a shame we're not getting him back working with Denny. I think Denny Villeneuve was using Greg Fraser for Dune Part 1 and Part 2, whenever they're going to come out now. So you can't go wrong with Blade Runner 2049. And it is stunning. You get that imagery, and it's the way he can frame the stuff. There are some bits that it's hard because it's part of a franchise. When you get the franchise comparisons, it's so easy to jump here and there. But I think as a consistent duo, those two absolutely nailed it.
I want to just very quickly go back to the vibrantness of the film and the contrast with the muted tones. Because when you watch films, it's very often you get either the muted tones and you get a film which ends up like Inside Llewyn Davis, which is very monochrome, and you rarely get any color thrown in or anything like that. And sometimes you get a film like, for example, Hero, where it is just vibrant colors and nothing else. I'm happy that I picked Blade Runner 2049 because it does have that in between. It does have that muted tones for the bureaucracy of the world that they present, but it also has those vibrant tones for kind of the life that is available there, even the lack of life when they get to Vegas. It's just a brilliant color palette that's spread out across the entire film, which I really enjoy.
Absolutely. And aren't you guys at home proud that I didn't pick Lord of the Rings this time? I could have very easily picked the Lord of the Rings film. I wanted to pick one. I wanted to give it a clean sweep, but I'm going to try and go for a little bit of variation here. We at least had a Lord of the Rings mention in Tate's pick, and very quickly before we sign off, we do have Cole, who's given his 3 nominations and the winner. Number 1, The Life of Pi. Absolutely phenomenally beautiful film. I think I mentioned that, didn't I, when I was talking about here earlier. Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers seems like it's a popular choice tonight. Many beautiful shots in that film. And 3, Shadow, martial arts film. Check out the trailer. I recall the name of it. Yes, I think that's the same director as Hero, actually. And the winner is The Life of Pi. I am not going to disagree with that. Bloody beautiful film. And that's it. Those are all the comments we have in terms of nominations and everything. So I think that will do it. I guess we can tease what we're doing next week. So category next week, we'll be back at the same time again, Thursday at 8 p.m. GMT, where we'll be doing our nominations and winners for Best Foreign Language Film. And it occurred to me how very few Best Foreign Language films I've actually seen, or foreign language films in general. But we'll be back next week with our picks for that. So that'll be a good one as we get ever closer week by week to the Oscar series, the Oscar night. I guess we'll round off on socials. So if you want to follow us with our videos, we have it's almost getting unfathomable now how many videos we've got coming out on the channel to keep track of. So I might have to subscribe to these as well. Facebook at Cinema Savvy, Twitter at Cinema_Savvy. We're on Letterboxd as well, .com/Cinema Savvy. And we also have the TeePublic link in the description below. You can pick up some t-shirts, including one of these. George, what have we got coming out, my friend? We've got just a series of videos. Let's go into it.
Yeah, let's kickstart Marvel. Let's do the next video we'll be doing on the channel, guys. You know it by now. Tomorrow is Friday. What does Friday mean? Friday means WandaVision. Come and join us as we do another deep dive, is putting it loosely. Charlie Day on loop for an hour is a nicer way of saying it. So if you're going to watch WandaVision tomorrow, if you want theories, you want to talk to people, because we're getting so many people commenting the theories and everything, you're basically doing half our work. Anyway, I have even prepped for it now. I'm going to bring this up because I was going to do it tomorrow. It's like I've even dug out the comics. House of M is here. That is going to get read in the next 24 hours or in the next week. I haven't decided yet. And it's going to be amazing. So do join us for that. And if you're sick and fed up of WandaVision, if you don't want to watch WandaVision, then, well, you're wrong. However, if you are into other Marvel stuff, then the Infinity Saga retrospective starts this Monday, the 1st of March. It's going to be insane. There's a hell of a lot of videos coming your way. There's not just this. It's going to be 3 a week, every Monday, Wednesday, Saturday. There's a video on our channel, if you want to check that out, that has some of the details in regards to what to expect from them. I'm happy to say that at the time of this live stream that we are 5 episodes fully edited and done, ready to start, and we've got a million more on the way, as our Camino cloners would say. And as well as that, as Chris also said, we've got the Cinema Savvy Awards carrying on next Thursday, and this Tuesday we have the Coming to America retro review. I'm really looking forward to this one. We've been doing the Eddie Murphy films. We've finished the Beverly Cop trilogy. So if you do like Beverly Hills Cop films, do comment on them, have a look, have a listen. But if you do like Eddie Murphy, Coming to America 1 and Coming to America 2 is coming out next Friday. We're not going to tease anything we're not confirmed about right now, but maybe check out our channel at the end of next week that isn't Friday if you want to get a spoiler-free review to that. We'll confirm that a little bit nearer the time. So that being said, there's too much stuff going on. I think that's everything. I almost had the wrong messages to bring up on the screen. I'm so far in the future right now that on some of those videos, we're already planning Falcon and Winter Soldier teasing this Friday stuff. So I'm happy that I've cocked it up on a live stream, not on a pre-record.
No, I mean, if only you could perceive time as we do on this channel. It's all mad at the moment. It's all chaos. But no, you nailed it. And yeah, Coming to America, that's going to be a fun one on Tuesday. Catch up for us because we both actually haven't seen this film. So that will be an interesting dynamic. I think that's probably the first time.
Wait, you both haven't seen Coming to America?
I've seen half of it a couple of years ago. Yeah, I've seen most bits of it.
So that's changing the game on retro reviews because usually one of us have seen it. But anyway, that'll do it. That's all the announcements out of the way. This has been good fun. Thank you for everyone who watched, and we'll see you on the next video. Take care, everyone.